Okay. Hello. Welcome back to season 3 of Video Journals. Today we're joined by a wonderful guest. We have Jemaule with us.
Thank you for having me.
Give us a random fact about yourself. Let the people get to know you a bit more.
Random fact.
Yes.
I was born in Antigua. Moved to England when I was 2 years old.
Very nice.
My random fact.
International. Okay, so today we are going to talk about testimonies. We're talking about relationship with Christ and getting to know him on a personal level. And we thought Jemaule would be the perfect guest for this. So we're going to start off with a small icebreaker, just that you guys get to know him, I get to know him, and we're just a bit more comfortable. So if you didn't know, Jemaule likes to preach. He likes to speak. He likes to share words of wisdom. So we're going to do a quick game of pick it up and preach. However, Jamaule's also got into running recently. So we're going to do it with a bit of a running approach to it. So I have in here an envelope of different words associated with running. Going to pick it up and preach. Off you go. Are you a bit nervous for this?
Just a tiny bit.
Okay.
I'm very much on the spot.
What's the word?
Pace.
Do you need, we'll give you 5 seconds.
5?
10?
Come on, 30, like a minute, 30 seconds.
A minute?
Okay, 30 seconds.
Wait, you can't just do it like that.
Okay, fine. Wait, let me,
Timer.
Yeah. Your 10 seconds is going there as we speak. Okay, 30 seconds.
All right, cool.
Yeah? You've got a minute to talk. Let's go.
All right, so my word is pace. Paul says something very interesting in 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9. And Jesus is speaking to him and he says, "My grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in your weakness." And it's interesting when you question, what does that have to do with pace? You see, this Christian life, often we try to run it as quickly as possible. We're so desperate to get to a point where we've done everything perfectly, where we've hit this essentially flow state of Christianity where we don't do anything wrong. And in this chapter, Paul is complaining to Jesus. He says, right, I've been praying about this thorn in his flesh, some sort of spiritual disruption or something in his life that's not going right. And he's so desperate to get to a place where he is perfect or where he feels as though he's doing everything right. And Jesus does not fix the issue, but rather says, "My grace is sufficient for you." Many of us are trying to run this Christian race as if we need to figure it out by tomorrow. It's not about how quickly you run it. It's about how willing you are to continue running it despite what might happen, despite when you fall short, despite when things go wrong, and being able to trust that God has enough grace for you that even if you can't be as quick as everyone else, or if it doesn't come as naturally, or if you don't hit that flow state when you feel like you should, that God's grace is sufficient for you no matter what your pace is.
Well done. I don't want to go next. That was too good. That was so good. What?
That was nerve-wracking.
No, that was great. Okay, I'm quite nervous for mine, so...
Don't be.
I don't know. Okay. Measure.
Oh.
Measure.
You weren't lying about upskill.
Yeah, measure. I don't even know how that runs in relation to running.
Measurement.
I've got an idea.
Measure.
No, I've got... seeing you said measure... idea popped in.
Do you want to go then?
No.
Measure. We're going for vibes. Okay, right, let's go. Okay. So my word is measure. Everyone say in the room, measure. Measure, okay. When I think of the word measure, I think about how in life it's so easy to compare yourself to other people. You like to see, you know what, for me anyway, I'm currently in a place where I've got a job, but I'm not working 5 times a week. So my money compared to where other people are wanting to be may not be the same. And I find myself being like, I'm not where I want to be. God, why are you not allowing my place to be where someone else is? And you find yourself comparing and actually complaining to God to be like, God, why have you not put me where that person is? But one thing about God is his ways are higher than our ways, right? So his plans for us as well are better than what we have for ourselves, right? So word of encouragement to you guys is do not compare yourself to others. Don't compare where God is leading you. Don't compare where you are to where God is. No, I'm off it.
Can I say something?
Okay, Isaac's going to finish off my word of advice.
To finish off, I'd say, don't use other people's life to measure where you're at. Measure where you're at with God. Yeah?
Measure where you're at with where God has actually placed you.
Yeah.
'Cause he's a loving father, so he knows where you should be at all times, and he has your best interest at heart. Measure, guys. Measure. Okay, that was great. Jemaule won that, by the way, and we're just going to keep it as Jemaule won that.
It's
And
not
we'll,
competitive.
you know, we're not measuring. Okay,
We're not measuring.
We're not. So we're going to get straight into the interview. As I said, this is all about testimonies, a walk with Christ, a relationship with Christ. So we're going to start off with just getting to know you a bit more. So could you tell us what your childhood was like? What it was like growing up between the ages of 1 to 13? Did you have a relationship with God? Did you know God? Talk us through, your childhood.
Okay, my childhood, it was fun.
Okay.
If there's one thing I can remember, I had a lot of fun as a child. I was moving a lot. So as I mentioned, I was born in Antigua. At the age of 2, I moved to Leicester. At the age of 5, I moved down to Reading. Bracknell, where Newbold is.
Okay.
And then at age 10, I moved up to Grantham. So in that time, a lot of moving. But in terms of my relationship with God, I grew up Adventist. Always had a very good Christian household, or very devout Christian household. Not like a legalistic. I describe my parents as very committed, but not strict.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like when it came to religion, school, and behaviour, serious in it. But outside of that, they were quite chill. And I think even as Christians, they weren't like, you have certain people that are just like incredibly conservative.
Yeah.
My parents weren't like that. They were pretty cool. And between the ages of 5 and 10, my dad was studying to become a pastor. So that was a really interesting time, because I think a lot of what he was learning at the time was then being shared to me. And I grew up with a very intellectually stimulated idea of Christianity.
Okay.
And I would say, throughout that time, I was always a bit of a goody two-shoes. So Christianity just made sense to me. I was like, just be good.
Rules.
Exactly. And kind of growing into that pastor's kid role, it was always quite straightforward. And I remember from maybe like the age of 7 or 8, used to watch them do communion, and I was so desperate to do communion. I was like, I want to do that. So I wanted, maybe not the foot washing, but I wanted to eat the bread and the wine. And so I was just like, I want to get baptized. And I was begging my dad from like that age. I was like, I want to get baptized. Wow. Not that I really understood what I want, but I love Jesus, innit? And I like going to church, and I have a lot of friends at church. And then when I got baptized at age 11.
Okay.
When we were in Grantham. And I think at that point I was like, cool. It's Christianity thing, it makes sense. So growing up like this, following the rules is fun. As I said, goody two-shoes, innit? So throughout that time, I think I had quite an easy experience with Christianity. Very straightforward. It was like, okay, this is what I've been taught, this is how I've grown up, and this is what I'm doing.
Did you find it hard, like being a pastor's kid, or no, that just came normal? Like I feel like it can be quite pressurizing sometimes when you are like the kid of a pastor, or did you just find that normal because of goody two-shoes, like that sort of like you just do what you're told?
The second one, just do what I was told. I love attention. So the fact that all eyes were on me, everyone's expecting you to be perfect, and kind of as weird as it sounds, the thrill and excitement of trying to do that. I used to love it.
Right. Okay. So how did you first encounter God then? Because as you said, you were a Christian, you wanted to get baptized, but then you said you didn't really know God. Like, you knew that you loved Jesus, but like your own personal relationship with God, how did that come into place? Was that like before you got baptized, or was that afterwards, still within the age of 0 to 13, or a bit afterwards?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer, because I feel like my answer has changed and will change continuously. It was definitely after the age of 13. I remember I got to about 16. In fact, no. Around the age of 11, 12, I used to ask myself the question, is it okay to be a Christian just because you want to go to heaven, not because you actually like love God? And I was really digging into that idea and that question and trying to figure out, okay, what are my feelings about God, my relationship with him? Because I think I know the idea about the rules, I know where I want to go. And I think in that process of kind of breaking that down, I did come to an appreciation of God just outside of this idea of wanting to go to heaven. And I think that definitely felt like an initial encounter. And then I got to about 15, 16, turned to my dad and I was like, listen, this Christianity thing is a scam. Because I got baptized at 11, and at 11 it seemed so easy. Like, everything is straightforward. I just go to school, I come back. Like, the temptation weren't that
Not
difficult.
there like that.
Like, sticking to the rules, it was simple. And he was just like, well, you're going to say that now, and when you get to 18, it's going to be worse. And when you get to 21, it's going to get even worse. And at 25, it's going to be even worse. And as you get older, the challenges continue to grow. And I think in overcoming that at the time, and I guess forcibly having to develop my personal relationship with God, that was the time I started reading Steps to Christ. And I think that book was really transformative in that experience, and kind of really understanding my relationship with God. Now, I can't pretend like it was all good. I think in that time, it kind of moved towards a bit of a stale kind of, I'm just maintaining as opposed to growing. And I feel like, especially between the ages of 13 and 18, that was kind of like how it was.
Okay, so going into the ages of 13 then, you've kind of answered it, but it was kind of like, what was your relationship with God like, but also what did you struggle with the most? And looking back, how can you see God being present in that place that you struggled with the most through them ages?
13, it was a weird time because I feel like it was very, very lukewarm in the sense that, when I was in church, I was always, Pathfinders, youth stuff, everything. I was always doing things. I was always very active, really enjoyed my church community. Even started a YouTube channel at one point.
Was that with the group?
Yeah.
The group of you all? Yes.
That didn't last very long. But I guess 13 to 16, I was definitely more on the right path, a bit more serious. And it kind of got to 16 and, the temptation. As I come, I had a lot of friends that were gang members. I had a lot of friends that did drugs, girls and all that kind of stuff, were the temptations that surrounded me. And as much as I was still that goody two-shoes in a sense where, a lot of my friends were doing crazy things that I wasn't doing. But it was, now that I look back, that time was a bit of a springboard where maybe between the ages of 16 and 18, I wasn't really doing anything mad, but I was becoming comfortable being around people that were doing mad things. And it became a bit stale. I'd be reading my Bible once every couple of weeks outside of obviously collective worship. And so, it was a bit of I thought I was good. I knew everything, very biblically literate. But that personal relationship, because it wasn't growing, it was just kind of behind the scenes dying. And I think there were many instances in that time where God showed up, saving me from certain situations, kind of speaking to me through experiences with people at church, even kind of inspiring me to be an influence for people. But it's just because it was so surface level, my relationship, it didn't feel like I was hearing anything. I was just kind of going through the motions, if that makes sense.
Okay. And then, before when you kind of said you were doing things because it was a good thing to do, you kind of thrived off of that. How did that then influence this part of your life where now you're wanting to live for Christ, having got baptized, but you're finding yourself maybe not putting as much time in to Christ? Did you feel that same thing of, I'm maybe not reaching what God wants me to be, and then not feeling as fulfilled if you thrived off of kind of doing the right thing? Or was it different because it was God compared to the human kind of ness of getting that reward of when you do things right?
I think for me, I was always a bit of a devious person.
Right.
And that kind of spilled into my relationship with God in the sense that it was less about my personal relationship with God. It was more so what do people see?
Okay.
And if what people see is okay, then I'll write off everything that's done behind closed doors, if that makes sense. And so it was kind of it was able to thrive without me necessarily feeling like there was a problem, because it's okay, well, when church people see me, they didn't see anything wrong.
It's not an issue,
So we're cool, essentially.
Okay. And did anyone kind of question you? Did your parents ever kind of question you on, or someone kind of check you to be should you be doing that? Or no, it was kind of never really that thing?
I mean, I was very good at covering up things.
Right.
I released my latest book in January called Romeo to Jemaule. And in that book, I kind of spilled the beans on a lot of things. And when my parents read that, they're like, wow, it's very, very revealing. And I was just like, yeah, kind of forgot I didn't tell you about, or you didn't find out about a whole lot of these things. And it was that kind of case where, you know, because my friends were kind of on the same thing, well, when we're behind closed doors doing foolishness, we're all behind closed doors doing foolishness and in front of people acting right. So it was like, I wasn't really being checked because those who would check me didn't know.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. So what changed you to then now being like, okay, I want to do this and give it all for God? What was that change and how did you get to that as well?
Uni.
Uni is... through uni, actually.
Oh, my
we've
goodness.
missed a chapter of uni-ness.
How long do you have?
Oh, we've got time. Go for it.
Right, so uni began first year. I was still describing myself as kind of living in that goody two-shoes, kind of in front of everyone.
Yeah.
I was acting good. I went to uni, didn't like parties, didn't drink. So I thought, I'm calm. But I was in a relationship at the time, and it was an actively sexual relationship. So that for me was like the one thing in my mind. I was like, okay, I know I'm doing this wrong, but I'm cool with where I'm at right now. But then it kind of got to a point where I realized it wasn't very sustainable, because I was like, no, but I still want to be a good Adventist. I want to go to church. Like, I feel like I've always had an idea of where I want to get to.
Yes.
But at that time I was comfortable not being there.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Did you ever have a thing where it's like, you know what, by this age or by this point, I want to be there? Or was it a matter of you kind of thought you were going to get there at some point, but right now you're fine with where you were?
Yeah, it was kind of, I'm trying to get there. I don't know when I'm going to get there.
Okay.
But I will at some point.
You knew, yeah.
And I think I was kind of kidding myself in the fact that, okay, well, what I'm doing, I know it's wrong, but I'll fix up. I'll fix up and I'll try and fix up. And fixing up wasn't happening. And then that relationship ended and, you know, my mental health kind of went downhill. And I just went on a bit of a mad one. Because, you know, you come out of a relationship, you feel the freedom, you're at university, everything is... All the temptations you want to fall into, it's very easy. So that's when I was just a bit outside.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, a bit outside, very outside. And I got to like second year, and in second year, I actively made a decision. I think when was it? It was just New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay.
I was with some friends, and up until this point, I hadn't drank. I wasn't that interested. I was also a bit scared. I was like, oh, okay, what if I throw up? What if X, Y, and Z? And that kind of kept me in check for the first year.
Yeah.
But then we get to the point and I'm just looking at it and curiosity just came. It definitely killed the cat in that situation. And so I was like, yeah, whatever. So I was with a couple of friends, ended up getting drunk. Mad experience. And I feel like after that point was when I was like, okay, you know what? For the foreseeable future, I'm not even going to try. I said, God, I'll come back in a couple of months, innit? Okay. But for right now, I don't have the energy. Because I was recognizing the fact that what I wanted to do, or the things I knew that were better to do, I just could not keep up with them.
Okay.
And so that kind of was an indication of when I just kind of let loose. And so outside became outside squared.
Right.
And so in that experience, you know, a lot of parties, a lot of girls, a lot of, just unnecessary activities. And I remember one evening, I'm really beating myself up. Me and my friends made some edibles. And it was a really weird experience because they all smoked. I didn't smoke. If there was one thing you couldn't get me to do,
smoke. It
was smoke.
Okay.
And I felt like that was my last stand.
That was your line drawn.
Exactly. Weird place to draw the line, but so we're doing these edibles, and because, you know, they're smokers, it hasn't really hit them like that. But for me, yeah, boy.
Yeah.
So I would describe it. It was so weird. I'd be calm, and then I'd kind of start slurring my words, and I'd start giggling, and then I'd fall into almost like a trance where I was seeing visions of like my happiest memories. I remember going back to Antigua when I was little. I remember like being at Newbold. I remember like everything in my head that was reflective of happiness. I was seeing it while I was in these kind of trances. And then I'd kind of fall out of it, and I'd be trying to explain it to my friend. When I tell you, in my head, things were working. Whatever was coming out, not coherent, not words, not sentences, and I was shaking violently. It was weird.
Whoa.
And this was going on for like a good 3 hours. But in my head, I'm just experiencing all this happiness. And at the end of it, I sat down and I thought, wow, I really want to go to heaven. Because, you know, it's that level of happiness. I know that, cool, if I go and take another edible, I'm not going to experience that again. But if I go to heaven, I will be able to experience that kind of happen. So in a really weird way, that was almost a bit of a motivation to kind of fix up.
Right.
For about 2 days, that motivation was useful. Then we kind of fell back into the same situations. And then I was part of a youth group. I think it was one of the church societies at uni, and they used to do this worship experience once a year. And I was doing some acting. And afterwards, I came down, I sat down, and I remember I'm not sure if they were singing or praying or something. And I just saw this girl, eyes burning into the side of my head. I'm looking at her thinking, why is she staring at me? And I'm really, really confused because I'm at this worship experience. I'm trying to, get into
God.
Exactly. And her eyes just burning into the side of my head. And I look over, and it takes me a moment. I was like, oh, I just realised there was someone I danced with in a club the night before. And I was like,
Wow.
Awkward. And it just hit me in that moment. It's like, okay, well, in this situation now, I've always been someone that, when it's behind closed doors, it's behind closed doors. Now it's not behind closed doors, isn't it? And I remember the next day, I got up and I just felt rubbish. It all just kind of hit me in the fact that I'm in this situation, and all the things I'm doing, it's not even exciting anymore. And at this point, I'm actively trying to stop, and I'm realizing the fact that I can't. I think I went to a park. And I got a text on my phone from my ex, and she was like, oh, I can see you. It's like, oh, random. And she came out, and we had a conversation, and, she wasn't, she was Christian, but I don't think she was, very serious.
Okay.
But she was getting on to me, and she was like, oh, but you're this, and this is what you profess, and this is what you showed me and told me, and you're not even sticking to all that, laying into me in it.
Right.
And I was just like, right, okay, we're going to pattern up now.
So that was your first check. Almost.
Yeah, I think the first
one that you knew.
Exactly.
They knew what was going on.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so from that point, it wasn't all peaches and cream. But we got to third year, and in third year, I think I was actively trying to be better, and cut out a lot of things, not being in a lot of spaces. But it got to a point where I was just trying so hard. I was reading my Bible, I was going to church, but it wasn't fixing the situation. Still wanted to be in places I wasn't meant to be. I still wanted to attach myself to people I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And it hit a point where I was so sick of, I guess, the sins I was getting involved in. Even just the thought of alcohol, the thought of sleeping with somebody, genuinely made me sick to my stomach. But then I couldn't stop, and it was really weird because after every encounter, after every situation, I just feel so terrible, but it's leading up to it, there was no power to resist. And so it hit a wall at one point, and I just said, nah, we can't do this. But I just felt hopeless because I was like, God, I've been praying, I've even been showing up to church now, and nothing's happening, and I've been reading my Bible. And it's we fall back into the same thing. I was crying. I was like, God, this ain't working. And I called my friend. Shout out to Amanda. When I tell you, she went through it with me. And yeah, I was just like, I'm hopeless. I can't do it anymore. And I remember I was just in bed. And I was just like, I give up. But not I give up as in I'm not going to try. I was like, I've been trying this. It's not working. God, you're going to have to if you really want me to behave properly, you're going to have to do something because in my power, it's not going to work. And it was really weird. That was a huge turning point for me where I stopped trying so hard just to do all the right things. But I was like, okay, God, I need you to give me the strength to grow with you, to develop how you want me to develop. And from that point, I kind of took the pressure off myself, stopped beating myself up. And it was a miraculous turnaround from that point because all the things that I hated doing but couldn't help myself from doing, God was changing my heart, kind of working on me. And the Bible says in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, to be renewed by transformed by a renewing of your mind. And I feel in that point is when I actually started to understand what that looked like. And it was him shifting my desires, him giving me, I guess, the discernment and the wisdom to mold my environments, to separate from people and influences. And I think in that experience of kind of giving up or reaching hopelessness, that was my first true encounter of not only God's forgiveness and how deep his love can actually extend, but then also just appreciating the fact that I can't do this in my own strength.
Yeah.
And I was forced to face that.
No, that's very, I feel like I resonate with that a lot, actually, because I think it is a very much thing where you feel like you have to be the one to change everything. You've got to be the one that's got to make things right with God and do all of that. And that's such a heavy burden to like carry. And it's something that we can't do. Like, it actually has to be God to do that in us. And I think in that as well, with the mindset change as well, it's kind of being willing to allow God to do that in us. Because we can say we want God to make that change in us, but then actually not want to let go what God wants to take from us or change our desires to be. So as much as we're like, oh yeah, God, like, I don't want to do this anymore, but you're holding on secretly, or you still got the numbers of, or you still got things, attachments that you're actually kind of wanting to hold on to just in case it doesn't work out, which I think, it's really that letting go of, you know what, God, you're going to have to do it all. Was there like a specific prayer or a specific thing that you would ask God for in that time that you felt like really helped for someone else that might be in that place where they're kind of like, God, I need you to help me get through that? Was there a specific thing that you would have to ask God for?
Yeah, I think asking for the Holy Spirit is a very, very key thing. Being comfortable with asking for forgiveness as well, because I think that's something I shied away from a lot, because I was like, I don't want to ask for forgiveness because I know I'm going to fall back into the same situation. But accepting the fact that in every situation and opportunity to trust that God is willing and wanting to forgive, and then to ask for his Holy Spirit to come and make the change and make the difference. And that was just my constant prayer in that time, and still to now.
Agreed, I think for me, it might have been asking for my desires to become the desires that God has for me. That was a huge one. But also similarly, like the forgiveness aspect, because you can be so caught up on, I've done all of this. How can God love me? How can God do all of this? And if you're now holding on to this, you're not allowing God to really change that, and allowing God's forgiveness to kind of outrule what you're holding yourself. You're kind of putting your own thoughts of yourself above what God has for you, which is just love. So thank you for sharing. So if you didn't know, also Jemaule is a teacher, and he also does content on TikTok, Instagram, including running content, and something you've spoken about before briefly earlier on actually today, but also on social media, is wanting a wife and wanting to find your person. So since having had that change of opinion throughout uni, how has your idea of a wife, of your future partner, changed? And has that influenced how you behave or how you think about women, maybe? How has that changed your idea of a partner?
Well,
I don't hold back.
I think I'm still in a process of shifting and changing. I've always, from when I was little, I was always the kind of Prince Charming, like I want to be the Romeo in the story. Well, actually, no, Prince Charming is a bit of a better example. Yeah. But it was like, always a lover boy at heart. And I think when I was younger, I was like, I want to find a wife, I want to have a family, all that kind of stuff. And then get to like 16, 17, 18, and it turned into a thing of social status. Where it's like, okay, well, the prettier girls you date, then it validates you in some way.
Fairs,
And so a lot of it was just searching for validation at that time. And then we got to university, and it was a combination of that. But then after a slurry of unsuccessful relationships, lust kind of drove the car at that point, and it was very much, okay, what can I get out of you, in a lot of instances. And so I think growing out of that experience, because I think my standards and expectations changed dramatically at that time, because it's like, well, if all I need from you is sex, then who I associate with or who I look at in that way, floodgates opened to a certain extent. We're not like it was any and everybody, never that. But it was definitely a case of, okay, now I wasn't looking for a wife, I was just looking for someone to fill the time right now. And then after uni, it was It's been a really weird roller coaster. I'm still on the roller coaster because I think there was a part of it where I was guilt tripping myself, like, oh God, maybe this person makes sense, and because they've shown up in this time and they love you, then maybe that's the person. And it's like I was guilt tripping myself into situations with people I didn't really like or wouldn't have been interested in.
Okay.
But it's just like, because it seems providential, or because I've been told for the longest time, your expectations are too high, you want too much, or like you're expecting the world. And back in the day, I didn't really care. I keep expecting the world, and I think for me it was never a case of I'm just expecting things that I've never found. I was more basing off these are the types of people I have dated or been interested in. Those people exist, therefore just keep on the trajectory. But then I think kind of hearing that and people saying, no, but you need to be more open and understand, and you never know, you might learn to like this person. And so I think I almost forced myself to try to learn to like people, but it's just like at the end of the day, you knew you didn't like them.
Yeah.
You knew that wasn't the type of person you really wanted to be with. But in my head, I was just kind of guilt tripping myself, saying, maybe I'm just missing God's blessings.
Yeah, or the expectations are too high.
Exactly. And then I think it's only really been in the last year or so that I've been a lot more particular, because I don't really chat to people. I'm not really one of those people that casually dates. So I just kind of hang around, and if someone makes sense, you get to know. If not, but it's like the vast majority of my time, there's nobody in the sphere, which is very different for how I have been historically. But I think those kind of expectations have grown. However, I think I hit a point where I realized that because I wanted marriage so much, or even though now the desires are back to being purer, and in a much better direction, so because I wanted it so much, I was willing to make a lot more space for it than I should have. Okay. And it's like, you're getting to know someone in 3 weeks and you're already praying, Lord, like, is this the person? And making life plans and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, you're not even there yet.
Okay.
And that's been a very interesting navigational hazard, because I'm a planner. I like to know things in advance. I like to be 2 steps ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And learning to trust God in working things out, taking time for processes to go through, especially in relationships, as you're getting to know people, to kind of not be run by, what do I want, but rather, how is God growing me in this situation? Does this person align with where I'm already going? Because I think that for me was the biggest problem. I'm willing to change the whole plan.
Yes.
To fit or make space for somebody. But it's just like, then almost my calling and my personality gets thrown out of the window, and you realize you've lost yourself just for the sake of having someone. But it's like, if you've lost yourself, then you can't even maintain this person.
Yeah.
I think that's been my most recent mental breakthrough when it comes to relationships. And appreciating the fact that, you have your standards, you have your expectations. No one's going to be perfect. No one's going to fit them completely. But you have to find someone that aligns with you more so than anything. And God knows your desires. And having that trust that, He knows what you want. He knows what will be best for you. And if you're constantly checking in with Him, as the Bible says, if your delight is for the Lord, He will give you the desires of your heart.
Yeah.
When you're tapped in with Him and what He wants for you, you come to appreciate exactly what you genuinely want, as opposed to what you might think you want.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's so important as well to not lessen your expectations for a relationship, because I think a relationship takes a lot, and also it has a huge impact on your life, because this is your life partner. And if you've got a calling that God's put on your life, then that partner should be in line with that calling. You don't want anything to take you away from that kind of thing. So I think it is really important to kind of have your expectations, but making sure that them expectations have been created with God, if that makes sense. So like praying about, God, what is it that you want in my relationship? What is it that I need in a relationship? And like, how does that fit into what it is that you want for me? Like kind of having that constant connection with God, like what you're saying, praying with God and kind of bringing your desires to God and letting him lead that. I think is so essential. And yeah, it can be so easy to kind of be told like, oh, your expectations are too high, and then now your expectations are gone, and you're just willing to take anything that seems okay. But yeah, no, that's really important. But agreed, like God knows the desires of your heart. So as long as you're in line with God, the desires are going to match, and your person will come at the right time. But it is hard to kind of also be patient in that timing that God has for you. But when receiving kind of that new kind of lesson that I guess you could say you've learned from God, do you take that easy, or is that kind of a bit of like, oh, okay, God?
None of it is easy. I'll say that because I think for me, relationships has always been my way around navigating my own value. Because especially growing up as a kid, it was like, okay, well, Prince Charming because he gets the princess. That's what makes him cool. And then growing up, it's like I fell into the category, you know, the gallus because they get all that female attention. That's what makes you cool. That's what gives you your value. And I carried that for a long time. And then separating from that was, definitely not an easy thing. But then I think my most recent revelation is it's not easy to take per se, because it's almost balancing loads of different ideas at one time, where it's like, okay, you might have a perfect idea in your mind, knowing that no one's going to match up to your perfect idea, but then how far from your perfect idea are you willing to go, and then also certain needs and expectations, as well as societal expectations. Like all of my friends are married. Adi, Akechi, Chilaka's getting married in a month. Like my main friendship group, they're all my age and married and happy and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, right, what am I doing wrong here? And I think alongside that, a reason it's always been quite difficult is because I've always processed it as failure. Anytime something doesn't work out, you know, whether the person was right or wrong or whatever, I've processed it, okay, either I've made a wrong decision, I've done something wrong. And so even coming through that is like, I'm learning to appreciate, okay, this is what God has taught me in the situation, and trying not to kind of beat myself up for failing, if that makes sense. Like, it just didn't work out. Yeah. And that's normal.
Yeah, it's more like a lesson rather than a you've messed up kind of situation. Okay. No, I get that. So another form of content that you also do is your panting and preaching series. So I guess, what is it that you actually studied at uni?
Sports and exercise science, and nothing to do with...
Okay.
Yeah. So
how did we get from sports and exercise science to now being a teacher and now also preaching? How did that in line with the panting and preaching series? Was that something that came afterwards? How did you find your calling?
So sports and exercise science from like year 9, I was like, I'm going to be a sports scientist. Got to uni, I was like, I'm going to be a sports psychologist. Said that to sound smart, but I was really interested in psychology. But by the time I got to the end of my course, I said, this is dead. I have no desire to work in the sports industry. I don't want to do none of this. I hate it. There was a point in which I was like halfway through my dissertation, I'm just going to drop out. I hate it.
Really?
Can't do it. And by the way, I had like 3 weeks left. Thankfully, we stayed the course. I was even surprised I graduated because I had like 17% attendance in 3rd year.
Oh, wow.
Like I was...
Because of the course?
Done.
Okay.
I was done and I did not care. But then after I finished that, I ended up doing the year in mission course at Newbold, which is like a little introduction into theology. Then you go on a mission trip. And at that time... I'd already started preaching, when I was like 20. Yeah, during my last year of uni.
Did you ask to preach, or did someone approach you?
I had an idea, because up until that point, I was finding ways that I could avoid preaching forever.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out how to do that. But then I had an idea, and I got so excited about the idea, started working on it with my dad. And then when it kind of came together, I was like, okay, Dad, I want a preaching appointment. I really want to just experiment with this. And because I enjoyed the experience, I was like, you know what? Why not? And so started preaching a bit more often, getting more opportunities. And it's just something I just really enjoyed doing. So it was always kind of like on the side of my studies and education as like a religious hobby, per se. And because I'd created content and stuff, it kind of felt like a bit of a natural extension to that. And so after I finished my mission trip in Cyprus, came back, my job search was going sour. And the teaching opportunity opened up at Stanborough, and coincidentally, they needed a PE teacher. And so that's kind of how it lined up. And I realized, okay, God, I see what you're doing there.
Right.
And so, that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years, and that's kind of how I've got here. Not that I want to continue in teaching or anything sports related, but I think it was an important entry. And whilst being at Stanborough, also taught RE, and I've been preaching a lot more, getting involved in ministry and stuff. And this is where Panting and Preaching came about.
Okay.
When I was on a mission trip last year, speaking to a friend, and she had recently got into running, and me and running, we never went together before this. I was someone like, I'm a sprinter, I can't do long distance, none of that. But I was like, you know what, I need to improve my fitness. I'm trying to get back into football as well. And so started the running, actually really started to enjoy it. And Panting and Preaching was almost like a way to keep me accountable. Because it was like, okay, cool, if I know that I need to post at least once or twice a week when I'm doing my runs. And for the first part of it, my motivation to do the run was to go and do the Panting and Preaching.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I was almost combining it to keep the motivation up and keep myself accountable.
Okay.
And it's been an interesting experience with that. It's just a fun, way of bringing ministry into, I guess, my everyday activities.
Mm-hmm. And did you ever get nervous, like being so vocal online with God, or was that something you've always been fine with doing?
I went through a lot of bullying in secondary school, especially my second secondary school. When me and my friends started that little YouTube channel, it was dark. It was dark. It got to the point where teachers were playing it in lesson.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, like not to support?
No, not to support.
What?
They were violating. And I think
that's wild.
It was peak. But weirdly enough, I think that built my resolve, because I was like, okay, well, cool. I don't care.
Okay.
And especially at that school, people were just, the verbal abuse was just continuous for no good reason. And especially because I come from like a very good school, it was really nice, posh, to a bit of a rundown, dingy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, as bad as it sounds, I kind of felt like I was better than everyone anyway.
Right.
So anything you lot had to say, I didn't care about. So it was a really weird kind of almost arrogance boosting thing. Because it was like, okay, I don't rate you lot. And if you lot were to rate me, that would suggest I'm like you.
Oh, so you want one
Exactly. So it's kind of like your hate is fueling me a little bit. And weirdly enough, I think I just kind of carried that. Whereas, okay, even if I'm speaking online about anything,
right,
or speaking about God, it was just like, people are going to hate in it. Which I haven't necessarily had much of.
Okay.
Maybe I need to be a bit more controversial. But yeah, no, I've always just kind of been one of those people. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Fair.
And you will say what you want to say.
Mm-hmm. I need some of that. Please share. But also shout at you, because I can't speak and talk. Speak and talk? I can't speak and run at the same time. So you're doing a whole sermon whilst running. 10 out of 10.
The key thing is conversational pace, as Strava would call it.
Okay. Keep it steady. Okay. So final 2 questions. Each day is a living testimony. So this could apply to any part of your testimony that you've shared today, or something that you're going through now. What character in the Bible do you think resonates with you the most? Ooh,
I think Paul.
Okay.
Is a character. I've always admired Paul. He's a bit of I'll do what I've been called to do, and I don't care what the challenge is. I don't care where I need to go. I don't care about the hardship, and just push through it. I think that's someone I've always tried to emulate.
Right.
But recently, though, Moses has been a character. As a teacher, I have to deal with some very annoying young people, put it lightly, and it's like you see where they can be. But it's like you can't get them there straight away. You have to, similar to Moses, you have to stay in the wilderness with them for the 40 years.
Yeah.
And that's been a very humbling experience, probably the most challenging thing I've been going through in the last 2 years. And so, I think Moses recently has been the character that I've resonated with quite a bit.
As a teacher, how do you stop yourself or keep yourself from, because I know a lot of, even with me, when I've been with teachers, I almost want them not to be there. But how do you, as a teacher, stay with them and not abandon them? Because sometimes it feels like, it's a last course, like they're going to do what they want to do in it. How do you, resilience in that?
That's a deep one, because I feel like there's certain students even mentally I'm trying to stop myself from giving up on. I can't lie. One teacher, she was speaking to me on Thursday. She was just like, you have to see them through Jesus' eyes, recognize how he would look at them. That's difficult, very difficult. Sometimes it's really just praying for joy and peace in those moments where you want to crash out and you just want to express your frustration. Also started just going into the gym and booting balls at the wall. It's better to kick the wall. Better to kick the ball than the kids. So yeah, finding the right kind of outlets so that when you're dealing with them, you can give them the love. Just express the frustration elsewhere in it. So yeah, it's really, really about looking at them through the eyes of Jesus. And
has that helped your view of Jesus then as well?
Definitely, because I think looking at how patient I have to be with them, I can imagine how patient he has had to be with me, and even more so.
Yeah. Okay, so final question. We kind of answered it, but what advice would you give to someone who is unsure about their calling or is nervous, knows what God is calling them to do, but is nervous to step into it?
Just do it. At the end of the day, life will be full of challenges, hardships, and difficulties, but there is nothing more unsatisfying than unfulfilled potential. And if you think about it, where God is calling you into, there's a reason he's calling you into that. And it's not to torture you. And if you stay where you are, you're going to go through challenges anyway. If you go where he called you, at least there is some level of fulfillment and a reason for you to be there. And even kind of think about it, sometimes a bit selfish. It's like God has called you for a reason and to make a difference and a change. And you have to accept the fact that there is value in my contribution. Specifically, if you don't do it, it doesn't get done. And there's a reason God is calling you to that. And it would be a shame if you have to get passed up and he has to get someone else to do it. So I would say, whatever you're worried about doesn't exist right now. Think about it. Worry is simply just a fear of what is to come. You don't even know what's around the corner. So if you're worried about stepping into your purpose, or you're not too, and on the side of you're not too sure, if you're not too sure, just keep stepping in the direction that you're already going in. Because when God wants you to know, you will know.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most difficult part of, I guess, navigating purpose and calling, because it's like, okay, well, does God want me to take this step? Does he want me to take that step? If he's not giving you a direct path and you're constantly searching for his guidance, he's probably giving you the freedom to choose. And when you make decisions, it's very hard to make a wrong decision because there are many, many good options. What you don't want to do is make a disobedient decision. And so in cases where you're seeking God's guidance and he's giving you that freedom, just trust that he will walk with you, whether you choose door A, door B, or door C. He'll walk with you through any of those.
Yeah, no, I agree. Completely agree with that. I think also you can be, the whole thing of if you're not stepping into where God is calling you to be and God has actually told you to be in that place, that feeling of you're doing the wrong thing or that feeling of unsatisfaction is so heavy on you, especially when it is something that you might have wanted to have done in the past, but God's actually saying, nah, this isn't the road for you. That feeling's not worth going into where you think you should be. And especially if you're praying about where you want to be and you're inviting God into, God, what do you want me to do in my life? And what do you have for me? That feeling is not going to leave you until you shift into where God wants you to be. So listen to that for sure. And I think also, again, as you said, God, there can be multiple ways where God wants you to go, and there can be different avenues to get to do what God is asking you to do. And you can have that choice to do it and just go for it. Don't stick being which one? Kind of go for it and God will lead you in that. And if he doesn't want you in that place, he'll let you know as well. He'll give you that feeling again. So it's better to even step into rather than to just stand and do nothing. God will lead you into the place that he needs you to be in. But yeah, just do it. Just do it.
Exactly. Just do it.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening. And I don't know if you have watched it, sometimes it's on ARL, so you might have listened to this instead. But thank you so much for joining us for Video Journal Season 3. episode 2. Thank you, Jemaule, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed yourself.
It was a lovely experience.
Not nervous?
No, we're cool.
Cool. We're cool. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, comment, let us know any questions that you may have, any points that you may have, and if you have a topic that you want to be spoken about next episode, let us know as well. And Jemaule, if you just give us your details again so they can keep updated with everything that you're doing.
Yeah, so all of my social media, Jemaule Gardner, JEMAULE GARDNER, and you can also find me at jemaulegardner.com. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yay! That was good. That was so good. That was really, really, really good.